A very warm welcome to all of you in another exciting episode of Cubs in Conversation, episode 2. I would like to extend my hearty welcome to our chairman, sir, Savi ma'am, to Sarvesh sir, Nandini ma'am, to all the mentors and our amazing dear Cubs. So we are looking forward for another interesting conversation with our chairman sir and 5 amazing young talented students of grade 12. So they are Pranav Agarwal, Devanshi Agarwal, Yash Garg, Mrinalini Jain, and Charanya Anjali. I request all of you to please switch on your cameras. Please switch on your cameras. Thank you, Yash, Pranav, Devanshi, Charanya, Mrinalini. Thank you. I request all of you to keep your cameras on throughout the session. And before we start, a few ground rules for the audience that I kindly request you all to mute yourself throughout the session. Towards the end of the session, once we open for question and answer, all of you will be given a chance to interact and ask questions to our participants. And in order to do so, you need to raise your hand or type out your questions in the chat box. Now, without wasting any more time, I request our chairman, sir, to kindly initiate the session.
Thank you, Sudeshna ma'am. Namaste to all the participants again. I know it looks strange that we have a conversation being where we are. That's the use of technology. We mainly thought of this program to help you look into yourself, which we normally don't do as people. We never question ourselves, very rare. And if we question ourselves, we learn a lot about ourselves. If we learn about ourselves, we are likely to do better. That's all. Now, first and foremost, any of you feel that the pandemic has helped you in some way? Yes, Pranav, go ahead. You're shaking your head.
Oh, yeah, actually, it kind of is true because as they spoke about it to a lot of extent last time you guys met, it's helped with, because of the amount of time you have, like that's been unlocked, it's helped with, getting control of your day. So many of the habits that you may be having because you didn't have time to correct or because you simply did not have the will to do, you can, get that under control. So a lot of like small things like, waking up regularly or, controlling a tick or something like that you can control because you now have the time to, deal with yourself. So that is what is, the pandemic has helped in that aspect.
Okay. Devanshi?
So I think I agree with Pranav because, obviously it's given us a lot more time. So for me, it gave me a lot of time to focus on my hobbies. I was focusing a lot more on music in the past 1.5 years. And the other thing is that I think it's also taught me how to be grateful because, earlier when I was meeting people, I was still going out, I was ordering from outside. I didn't actually realize how much it meant to me until it was taken away. So I think I've learned to be a lot more grateful for the things that I have around me.
Okay. Yes, what do you think it has done to you?
So the pandemic has definitely brought about a huge change in all of our lives. Well, if I talk personally, because of the pandemic, a lot of things that would have probably never happened in my life did happen. For example, I adopted a puppy, which I wouldn't have been able to if this were not the situation, if we weren't at home. And that has actually helped me. I've heard of cases where people go through a lot of loneliness in this time because of the lack of social interaction. but I've been able to keep myself busy in different ways. So I feel like I have fortunately been able to cope better than some other people.
Yeah, Mrinalini, you raise your hand.
Yes, I agree with all of them. It has given us a lot of time. And for me, I got to spend time doing new things. Like I started to learn how to cook, and I started to spend some more time, doing exercising and playing downstairs. And I guess it also gave me some time to spend with my family. Before I didn't take out that much time, but with the pandemic, I got to spend some time with my family, which was a good thing for me.
Okay, good. Charanya?
Yes, I agree with that. The family aspect, it could be so true because in 10th especially, I used to like either really go out or just stay in my room and study for the boards. So I didn't actually spend a lot of time with my family. But then because of the pandemic, 11th and 12th, I'm always with them. So I understand them better. I know new things about my brother. And another thing is that I'm very like planned, and I have like a whole like schedule planned. And then the thing with the pandemic, it was so unexpected. Like no one expected it to come. So I just like learned to deal with unexpected events. Like you can't just always have a plan. Something would pop up and you know how to like cope with it.
Yeah, I think the whole world has learned something very new. And whether we like it or not, the pandemic is there. More or less, we have gone through it and we have learned a lot. And we also will be very proud or at least satisfied that we survived a pandemic. Okay. How many of you think we should start the school now, physical school? Yeah. Anybody? Yes, Pranav, go ahead. And then Devanshi.
Oh, sir, I recognize I'm in the minority here, but I personally have a lot of problems focusing in class. I mean, especially when it comes to online. Like, I'm not a person, I've recognized that I'm not a person who tends to, manage in a non-classroom environment. I've spoken about this a while back in a couple of events as well. But yeah, so I recognize that I would perform much better, do much better, focus much better in a class offline. So that's, I guess, my
Devanshi.
So I think we should open school for those who are in need. For example, like the higher grades, like 11th and 12th, we haven't had any practice for practicals at all. And honestly, I would be pretty lost if I were in the lab right now. So I think we should open it where there is a need. Similarly, I think writing exams for in the offline medium is kind of necessary right now because our first boards might be offline. So I feel like for classes, not necessarily, because I think obviously the school is doing really, really well on the online medium. So yeah, I think that's how we should open it.
Yeah, Charanya?
I agree with them. So because I personally work when there's a little pressure, and I feel like when there are teachers around, you kind of are intimidated and you actually do your work. And when you're online, you don't actually, it's not that intimidating. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, yeah, I think we should open it for at least like 10th, 11th, 12th, because 10th and 12th boards and 11th would have to like follow the new pattern that's there currently. So it would help with that.
Yeah, many have many angles of thought. And in general, we feel that you all have had a tough time trying to manage without meeting your friends, without knowing from them, learning from them. See, school is not about only learning physics or chemistry. It's about growing together. That growing aspect has been intimidated. Like, you don't know what has gone through your friends in the last 1.5 years. Because even by just looking at them, you understand a lot of things. Now you're only looking at the profile picture or just the face, and you have no time to talk to anybody. This is a big challenge. I think more or less you have gone through it. Now it's a question of reflection to see what happened more than seeing what is happening, because more or less we have gone through this experience and it must have created a lot of trauma in all of us. You understand the meaning of trauma? So you would have gone through a lot of mental tension. Need not be all of you. Any of you like to talk about the kind of tension you went through and how you managed? Okay, none of you are interested in that. Let's leave the topic because, okay, Pranav.
Oh, yeah. So what you told pretty much, I mean, you don't get to interact face to face with your friends. So you kind of don't have a sort of balance. Like being with your friends, interacting socially is like a sort of balancing, it balances their moods out, I guess, to some extent, because you can talk to them, you can understand what's going around. We're social creatures, right? So we tend to like gather information, make our lives better. But when it comes to the pandemic, you're just marooned at home alone. So it gets lonely to some extent, sure. And your moods tend to swing wildly because and you don't know what your friends are doing. So people might have changed a lot as well, and you have no idea. So those are the tensions pretty much.
Okay, Yash?
So when the pandemic began and we had our first few classes, there was this huge option of procrastination, which I unfortunately chose a lot of the times, and this caused to a huge piling up of work, and that really troubled me. So there was a couple of weeks where I had all this procrastination, all this collected work to do, and the current work that was also piling onto that. So that really caused a lot of stress, and that I did not couldn't have experienced if we had physical school. That is another reason. Well, I would have loved physical school last year, but this year I've kind of changed my opinion on that because with approaching entrance exams for most of the students, and with the last year we got a chance to adapt to the situation and adopt new techniques to learn and survive in the pandemic. So I think at this point I wouldn't like schools to open.
Okay. Actually, I'm sure you all learned to do something new because of this pandemic. That may be one positive aspect. But what Yash said about procrastination, whenever you leave things to kind of mount up, you have to have a technique to deal with it. You have to say, from today, I will take care of today's work without doubt. And then keep clearing some of the backlog. You can never clear the backlog and catch up with what's going on. You take it as a example. For example, two people are walking. If one lags behind, other has to increase speed to catch up. But when it comes to work, it is not like that. You got certain daily work. If you clear that, one part, you are successful. For the backlog, we make a program in next 10 days, next 15 days, or next 1 month, I will catch up. Then you will be able to catch up. Otherwise, what would happen? You'll always be lagging behind. In life, many a times it can happen. And as a school, we are missing a lot of things. It was our silver jubilee year. We had planned a lot of things, and suddenly we closed and we could not see any of you. For me, I learned a lot from just interacting with all of you, looking at your face, looking at your questions. We learn a lot, and that chance we don't have. But still, we are trying to do something on our own. We think and plan. that you may come to know once we reopen, or maybe all of you will be coming to school very soon. You'll be coming to school for practicals and for some of your examinations, like the Sahodhi exam. But what I would like to tell you all before we go to the next level is, whatever may be the situation, try to be peaceful first. Don't get disturbed. Try to work out a plan how you will minimum survive or thrive. Survival is must. I will some way manage and keep my head above the water, or I will realign myself so that I can do these things. So that's all left to you. And don't think that your pandemic in life is over. Mini and maxi pandemics will come. If you have made up your mind how to deal with things like that, you would be very wise. Good or bad, pandemic has taught us a lot, and it has made us tough to a large extent. Okay? Now, next round, let's see. 12th grade is a grade where you have double responsibility. Most of you would be preparing for some entrance exams and that and this, and all of you have to prepare for your board exam. Now, how is it going with you? Anybody would like to share something? Because it may be slightly different from what you would have done if the school was physically open. Anybody can start.
So for me, the thing is, so I plan on going into the field of psychology. And for me, most of the colleges that I'm looking at are merit-based. So they basically take admission based on your board marks. So that's why, lucky for me, I don't have that sort of divided attention where I'm preparing for some sort of entrance and boards. So I think that is the main goal right now, to do well in boards. So yeah, I think that's what
You
I'm
have
working on
a
right now.
single aim, board and board and board. Okay.
Yeah.
Attack the board, you'll do well. Any idea which college you would like to have as first preference?
So my first preference as of now is Delhi University, DU. So it has a bunch of colleges affiliated to it. So I'm looking at those colleges as priority.
Yeah, you can tell me name of the college if you don't mind.
So there's a college called Indraprasth College for Women,
Intrasta. Okay, okay.
and there's another one called Gargi College, and they both fall under DU. So
So you're looking at joining them. Good. All the best. You work, you will definitely make it.
thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, Mrinalini?
So the same goes for me, because even I'm taking psychology ahead. So the focus is mainly on boards only.
Okay, these two are mainly focusing on board. Remaining science students, what is your plan?
So I take humanities, but then I'm doing law. So then most of the college, if it's a national college, then you have to write CLAT. And if it's private, most of them take LSAT, or like some of them take LSAT, or some of them just take their own like in-college exams. So boards is just for like passing, and not passing, but like being able to write it, like the ability to write it. You need to have like a minimum mark in board. So for me, it's the opposite. I need to like focus on both, sort of, to get into a good college.
Okay. Yeah. One of you, yes or Pranav, what's your plan?
So the plan is, so I've been preparing for an entrance exam. I've been in the integrated program with Gear. So has Pranav, the both of us have been in that. So our primary aim is the entrance exam, and boards definitely, it's a good thing. We're lucky that NCERT and the entrance exam have the same syllabus. So we are going to try to do our best there.
Okay. What about Pranav?
Yeah, so just pretty much the same, I guess. Yash spoke for me. We'd be attempting engineering pretty much, and boards is just one more objective with like 5 or 6 other entrance exams. So, you know, it just goes in that flow, I guess. So,
Okay.
yeah, divided attention, as it's pretty much opposite of what they want you and Rinalini are.
No, you have divided attention, but morally the stuff is the same.
Yeah, the course flow is pretty much the
But
same.
I think the kind of questions they ask are a little different. We need to be prepared for that.
Yeah, but the course is more or less the same. They've synced it in such a way that it's not particularly difficult. But yes.
Now, we have a very serious issue with these coaching institutes. Anybody would like to suggest how we can get rid of these coaching institutes and then do as a school only? What is the way for that? Oh, I don't mind doing whatever the school has to do. We are not doing because there is a coaching institute. Okay? Our coaching institutes will say, schools don't do what they should do, that's why we are doing. Either way, we are not worried of the logic. But in case somebody asks you a kind of suggestion, to get rid of the board, what we should do? What reforms are needed? Yeah, Bruno, go ahead.
So since I guess this directly relates to me, I mean, I have a couple of opinions on this. First, I would say that, the way you approach engineering and the way you approach the entrance and the way you approach boards, at least for me, has been fundamentally different. It may be because we're doing, Alan on the side, but I think what can be done is, the way you think about certain questions, certain concepts, you could add a different way of thinking alongside with the boards. But what happens in that case is it kind of takes away from the entire flow of the subject. And if the curriculum isn't dedicated or, if it isn't implemented properly, I think both suffer. So unless it's, unless you have something that is very clearly done, I think it would be worth looking at it, definitely.
Okay. Anybody else would like to add anything?
Sir, now schools, every institution has a target. Now schools are primarily based off of the board exams, the CBSE board exams. Now because CBSE is a government, it's a branch of the government that has to take care of all the students that in India. Now not all of them, not even most of them are as fortunate as us to be able to come to a good school and get such a nice education. So now they have to account for that percentage of students and kind of ease out the board exams. Now that's the reason why engineering colleges don't take in students based off of board exams. That's why they have their own tougher examinations to skim out the people who would be better suited for this field. Now it all changes. So that is why coaching institutes are there. Now coaching institutes, they teach technically the same chapters, but it's to a different level with a different purpose. Now, most coaching institutes, tuitions are separate. They focus on entrance exams and not boards because of the same reason.
Understandable. Yes, you clearly brought out the whole country, the systems are different, levels are different. That's why you need to have coaching institutes which will fill in the gaps or prepare you for the entrance. That's correct. But I'm looking at a solution. How to segregate only the children who want to take up the entrance examinations and what we can do for them. But now we have something to add.
Yeah, so actually, I would like to speak about I interacted with, I think, the physics professor in IIT Kanpur. He creates the JEE advanced papers, I think, with his team. He's the HOD of physics. So he was actually very against the coaching institutes himself. He was very vehemently he said, we design our papers to in such a way that coaching institutes have a disadvantage. However, I mean that is only the case of JEE Advanced. I mean that is one paper in which I guess it's a very concept-based paper, and if you do your boards well and if you have a passion for the subject, you can do well yourself. But what happens in the broader engineering perspective is that you have a sort of a mismatch with the goals of the fundamental goals of the papers and the curriculum. So for that reason, you can't have. I mean, you don't have school teachers being able to teach JEE as well, or any of your entrances as well as normal school, because again the goals are different. And until those goals sync, you can't have like a proper integrated sort of curriculum environment or whatever. That's why they exist. I mean, so it is a problem, but it's a problem that is, again, as Yash said, it's a problem that the authorities know of, and they have just content to let it be like this right now. So
okay, it is not so easy because of so many reasons. Let's come to the next step. All the three girls are very quiet. There is a challenge in every profession. You take law, you take psychology, you take something else. Every field has its own challenges and attractions. Okay? What would you say law has to offer you in terms of your aptitude and your interest?
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So I picked law basically because since I was like very young, it's very like cliche, but then I've always liked like interacting with people, and law, it's basically like a conversation. You talk to people, you have debates, you have discussions, and I feel like it's very open in that terms. Like there's a lot to study, but then I feel it's worth it, and I like the legal structure, so it's kind of entertaining. So that's what I picked for.
See, basically, if you like that system, that structure, you'll do well and you'll be happy. If you don't like that, then you won't be. It's good that you like that structure, because in some systems, you have to deal with people. There are some people who tell me, sir, I don't want to deal with people. Give me work, I will do. There are some who are good at dealing with people. That's where I'm sure you all know what is the meaning of multiple intelligences. Some are good at dealing with people, some are not good at it. The same way, it kind of applies to every profession. Devanshi, what do you have to say?
So, I even though I'm not taking law, but I feel like people who go into law, it really opens up your way of thinking, because you have to think from both sides of the issue. Because first of all, you need to think about how you're going to defend your client, and you need to think about what other points the other person could offer to counter your points. So I think the power of being able to think in different perspectives, it really favors that in law.
Yes, Devanshi, actually more than that, it's actually how you can interpret certain matters, certain statements, and quote certain statements to prove your point. That's how law works. Let's not get into that. Let's go to the next thing. We are all running around creating jobs, doing education, grooming you, making you fit. But how many of you have thought about your life beyond 40? I have a particular point to make. Any of you thought about? See, it's not wrong if you are not. I'm just curious to know, did any of you think of your life, how it would be beyond your 40? Nobody. You know why I'm asking that? I've been repeating this many a times. I don't mind repeating it still another 1,000 times. Your health depends on what? you do till you are 18 or 19. You get my point. I've been telling this, but it may not have registered. I'm telling you because you're a small group, you're listening to me. Why I'm saying this, if you're not prepared to be healthy, strong, and done enough exercise when you're a child in the school, you have half a chance till you're 24. You know, naturally you get exercise as a small child. You know, the kind of walking they do, maybe you can observe. Some small children, they'll keep running all the time. They'll keep walking. They won't be stable in one place. That's that's the system get exercise. And once you learn how to be quiet, you are supposed to have exercise and at least sweat profusely 3 times a week. Then your heart, your lungs, everything of your body will be strong enough to support you. Since you're already 18 or so, I'm just repeating this point. Don't forget to do something that will keep your body challenged. What is the meaning of challenging? You must sweat. You run, you play, you do gym, it doesn't matter. Best thing is to play. If you have not done so far, for the next 4 or 5 years, be conscious. You do that, all of you. Because if you don't do, slowly you are losing your chance. You know, in English, there's a saying, going over the hills. How many of you heard of this? Going over the hills. When you are 40 years old, they will say, oh, you are going over the hill. That means till now you are climbing. Now you'll start going down. From 40, your body structure is such that it starts becoming, less and less efficient, less and less energetic. How healthy you would be, how the least amount of complications you would have, would depend on what you have been doing till you are 40. So you take care of yourself, and whoever you meet as your friends, please tell them, take care of yourself. That's why we had almost planned and we were executing 1 games period for grade 1 every day. You may not have heard of this in any school. We implemented that. Before we go to the next step, we had the pandemic coming in. 1 games period every day, which is very difficult. But for first grade, we started with it because that is very important. They get used to challenging their body. Okay, that I want you to keep in mind at any cost. Don't neglect your personal care. If you don't make so much of money, it doesn't matter. If you don't become a CEO, it doesn't matter. But you must learn to do 2 things. Be healthy in your life and be very contented in your life. I'm sure all of you would have millions of people standing in the queue if you say, I don't mind exchanging my life with anybody. What I'm trying to say, there are millions of people who are not like you. They would like to be like you. Having achieved that, grace of your parents and grandparents and everything, you should do what you have to do for yourself. That's what I'm coming to. Parents can do to an extent. The next level, you have to be very clear in your mind and do it. Anybody feels that what I'm saying is not very appropriate? Okay, any of you feel it is appropriate and you have been thinking about it? Yes, I saw before Pranav. Yes, Pranav.
Oh, so I actually was thinking about it pretty much because you've been sitting at home for the previous 2 years, pretty much everyone. And, sometimes things like, physical activity kind of go out the window because, when your strenuous schedule is there and you're like all tired all day, it gets tough to like take out time, especially when you can't really go meet your friends and play with them as you said. But sure, yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it because I've been sitting in my chair like previous 8 months without doing anything. So definitely, it kind of struck a chord.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, I just like to say that I absolutely agree with you that health definitely should be maintained positively throughout your life because, well, health is wealth, and without having a healthy body, you won't be able to perform the activities that you would like to perform, and the efficiency just goes down overall, and you won't be happy or satisfied with what you have as long as you're not healthy.
Yeah, if you are conscious and you work, you'll be fine. Yes, Devanshi.
So I agree with both of them that with the pandemic, like a lot of times we don't get the chance to go out, go for a walk and stuff like that. But along with that, I think also with 12th, when we're all busy studying for our respective exams, we're all so caught up in academics that we very often don't really take care of ourselves, because I've seen a lot of people compromising on their sleep, compromising on their diet. So I think it's very, very important that to take care of yourself in that way while working towards a certain goal.
True. Nani and Charanya, both of you also, I would like to hear from you. Before that, see, health is something you have to be conscious about. Actually, olden times, many things happened unconsciously. People used to walk to school. People used to carry load. People used to do a lot of household chores. Physically, they were engaged. Now, I don't think you guys are so much engaged. Parents provide everything to you, and unfortunately, you have to concentrate on studies. Studies means for you a chair and a table, and this chair and a desk business doesn't help your body. Okay, so my attempt is to make you conscious that you have to invest time and effort to ensure that you would be healthy when you are going to face challenges. When you are 50 or 60, many would be going to a hospital almost every week or every fortnight, whereas you would be quite fine. I want you to be in the second group, not in the first group. That is my concern. Yes, Mrinaniki, go ahead.
So I just want to say I completely agree with you, and like you said, we don't get a lot of time, especially these days, to go out and just take a walk or exercise. But healthy body, they say healthy body is healthy mind. So I guess it also, not only will it help us with our health in the future years, it'll also help us refresh our minds and concentrate better.
Yeah, good point. It will help you even right now.
Yes,
Next,
and another thing is that even in our psychology book, I think Mrinalini and Devanshi would agree that we have a chapter called stress. And in that, it talks a lot about having a healthy diet, exercise, how vital it is, 3 times a week. So it's scientifically proven how important all these factors play in reducing our stress and in helping us in everyday life. So yeah, it's vital.
yes, as psychologists, you must be studying how stress creates a kind of enzyme in your brain, and which in long run spoils everything of your important parts. So study that chapter where management of brain, which is indirectly managing yourself, will be talked about. Next step is your study, your health, everything depends on your brain, and the health of the brain depends on the food you eat. I'm sure many of you must have heard of this, but you may not be following it. Your food habit, diet habit, directly affects your brain. And your brain controls everything. How many of you say, yes, sir, we know, but we are not able to manage, we eat whatever we like? It's not a question of liking or not liking. You have to learn to like which is good for your health. I don't want to take up a lot of time on this because you'll say everybody is lecturing about this pizza and business. It's not because the food by itself is bad. It is bad because there are so many additions to these kind of foods which are tasty for us. Starting from pizza, they are Coke. They all directly damage your brain. I'm sure you are all intelligent enough to ensure that at least you don't eat more than once a week. That much your body can take, not more than that. Coming back, is there anything that we can do as a school even now to help you study better? When I say school, your mentors or the school, anything. We are all ready to help you. But you have to be a little specific, because if you say teachers should teach good, that word good, we can't make out meaning. Tell specifically, nobody is going to feel bad. We want to listen to you and learn from you how to do our job better.
So as I said early on, taking classes offline would be like infinitely better. So just that one move would, pretty much change everything. So
Yes, Pranav. Offline will be pretty much better. We have no choice right now. It is online. Online, what we can do. Offline, what we can do. Be more specific. You see, if we say online or offline, that is not a decision we can make. So many factors are involved in that. In offline or in online, what do you think we should do better? Yes, Charanya.
So I think for online, we already have literally all the necessary things, especially like all my subjects that I picked. We have like quizzes and other events. So it keeps us engaged. So for online, I think we have pretty much everything that we need. So yeah.
Okay. So you're quite happy. So you plan yourself and do your work. Yes, Devansh.
So I think this point was brought up in the last CIC also, that a lot of times when we are going to 11th and we choose our subjects, we choose them based on what we've heard from other people. As in what we've heard from other people as to how to get to our goal. So I think if we have like an informative session from school based on what we need to do for a specific goal, then I think it would really help the students take an informed decision as to what they want to pursue exactly.
Yeah, that is understood. But even then, is there anything more that we can do? That is my question. See, you are doing, you have planned, you are okay, you are on the track. But is there anything that we can add, change? That's quite fine. Now, in life, planning and organizing is a very important thing. Plan your resources, plan your activities, so that planning and organizing becomes a very important tool to achieve something. Now, how many of you have got a plan on your desk and you try to follow that? How many of you believe in the flow and you are just following your flow? And how many of you have got people who enforce the plan on you?
So what time duration of a plan are we talking about?
Plan mainly for your study, my dear.
So over the next 1 year or over the next 5 months?
I'm talking as of today. Are you or have you been following a plan or not?
I have a plan for the next 2 days at least. Because I'm not one that's able to maintain a plan or like stick to something that's stretched over 6 months of a period. I've tried before, definitely, but I just find myself to be someone who can better achieve short-term goals. So now I've assessed the time I will be able to free in the next today and tomorrow, and I've decided what all I'd like to cover in this much time, and hopefully will be able to.
Yes, yes. What I'm trying to say is have a plan, and if you need, keep changing the plan, no harm. The problem is no plan. See, I have a plan. Because of certain things, I readjust the plan. That's fine. You can't be very kind of stiff and say, I planned, I will do. That is wrong. That's okay. But even if you do only short-term plan, how efficient has been your planning and achieving is the question. Since everybody has raised your hands, anybody can go ahead next.
So, well, if I talk about how much I'm able to achieve, I always plan. So when I say that these are the things I have to do, I'm barely ever able to complete all of them, only because I tell myself or I assign more than I know that I can do. So that if I'm able to achieve say 80% or 90% of what I have told myself, that would still be more than enough. Whereas I overplan. When I say overplan, I simply mean that I give myself more to do than I can, and try to do as much as I can in that much.
I'm tempted to quote one general discussion. If India plans to build a bridge in 6 months, they will do it in 9 months. If Russia plans to build a bridge in 9 months, they will do it in 6 months. You know how that happens? Russians know it would take only 6 months. They will declare that it would take 9 months and finish it in 6 months. Indian planning, we'll manage this, we'll manage that, we will do in 6 months. And they will not be able to do in 6 months. So ideal would be to plan such a way that you are able to achieve that. No harm if you extend, but I'm happy there is a plan. I'll be more happy if I see you're all very efficient in planning and executing it. It's fine. There's nothing wrong. What you said is correct. Okay, Mridulani, we'll go next.
Sir, I usually plan out for a couple of weeks, and I tend to sometimes not stick to it, but the idea is that there is a general plan, so I have a general idea of what I'm going to do, and I sometimes if I'm in the flow, I may change it, but I do have a general plan.
You know, there is a very great author called Csikszentmihalyi. He has written a book on flow. It's a beautiful book. If you are able to create a flow for yourself, that's beautiful. But always reflect on that. Am I doing my best? Is it the best? Is there anything that I can do? So keep that flow going. Good. Next, Devanshi.
So I do have a definite plan because I am a pretty organized person, and I feel like I get stressed out more if I don't have a plan. So part of a way to relieve that stress is to plan out how I'm gonna go about things. So as per execution, I feel like I do stick to the plan pretty well. I mean, there might be a few slip-ups here and there, but I think I follow the plan.
Good. Are you a little flexible about your plan, or once you're planned, you want to stick to it?
No, so I am definitely flexible about it. But when I plan, I take into account most of the things that are under my control. But if anything unexpected pops up, then obviously I have to adjust my plan accordingly.
Back to that. Okay. Yes, Charanya.
Yes, so I would say I was a planned person. Actually, I kind of still am. So in 11th, I was very planned. And then for like a good 5-6 months, I just stopped being planned. And then I started again recently, like a week or two ago. And I think I work better when everything is organized and planned and I actually have what I should do today, like a to-do list. So yeah, for me, it works.
Yeah, if that becomes natural part of you, you're happy. If your parents do it or your teachers do it or you yourself force yourself to do that, it's a bit difficult, but you have to learn. Pranav, what do you have to say?
I'd say I'm somewhere in the middle. So I try my best. I'll make a list, or I'll make a schedule. But I'll be the first one to admit I'm not a very strict follower. I tend to slack off when it comes to these things. So instead, what I do is I tend to set an objective for the day, or any sort of objective. And working towards that is usually easier than a list, because a list tends to it slows me down for some reason. Maybe it's a mental block, but or finding a set objective and working towards that, it enables productivity for me. And as Yash said, even if you don't reach 100%, it works out in the end. So
Okay. How many of you have been following Stephen Covey's book? The junior one, you all had a discussion, no, during your 8th or 9th? I think there is a book which was discussed amongst all of you.
Oh, is it the 7 Habits?
Yeah, 7 Habits.
Oh yeah, that one. We had a while, I think in 8th grade. Yes, we discussed
Just
about it.
revisit that. That's a very useful book for all of you. And if you just find the other book by Stephen himself, just see the topics, and you don't need to waste time if you don't have time. That is also a good book for you to read and understand and plan. That's a very helpful book. Okay. Now, is there anyone who wants to ask something? Ask me, ask your mentors, ask your principal, anybody. I think they're all there to answer you.
So in what aspect?
Any aspect. We are all for you. If you want to ask a question, Sudeshna ma'am, how she practices and manages music and biology, you can ask, no problem. Very interesting. You don't have a question.
Sir, can we ask audience if they want to ask anything?
Please ask them. Allow them. We have 5 minutes.
Yeah. So anyone wants to ask any question to our participants or to Sir? Please go ahead. Raise your hands or type out your question in the chat box. I think Vishruti has. Yes, Vishruti, please go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, this is related to the question Sir asked if we can improve anything in the online class. So, for my personal experience, I just wanted to say that usually you use like a PPT or something when you're teaching us. So I find that when the PPT is there, it's actually distracting for me. And I feel like reading that instead of listening to what the teachers are saying. And when I read that, I end up not understanding, and I end up writing what is there, but not getting any information out of it. But my chemistry tuition teacher, I just observed that I'm able to learn better from her because she never presents anything. And when she's teaching, she's directly just talking to me. And afterwards, she shows me what I should write. So, like, when I do one by one, I can learn better. That's just something for me. Maybe it's not the same for everyone. So I'm just saying.
I think it's a very, very valid point, Vishruti. Thank you. I would say I'm also like you. Either I can read the PPT or listen to the teacher. I can't do both. Anybody would like to answer, Vishruti?
Sir, shall I try, sir?
Yeah, please.
So the idea of showing PPT generally, I mean, I cannot speak for everybody, but for my end, when we make a PPT, it should not have a paragraph. It should just have the points. Then when we are dealing with the PPT, we will take up one point at a time. So we will pick up one point and then we will express or explain onto that point. So what is expected here, that one particular point, you need not write immediately, you listen and then you write. So generally, if some teachers are not giving time for that, the students can always ask, ma'am, wait for some time, we'll write. Or another way is we always post the PPT later on, I mean, as a resource. So writing part can even happen that time when the revision is happening. So ideally, what
Okay, let's see. Vishruti's point is taken, and when mentors present PPTs, you should have only points or only visuals, and there should be enough time to go through the PPT and then respond to that. Okay, I hope all the mentors will make note of this point. Yes, Arusha, you have something. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask, is there a specific reason why you would want to integrate the coaching environment or their objective into Gear? Because having been a part of both, I actually feel like they're kind of polar opposites and their goals are different. And Gear has a really safe and welcoming and open environment, while in coaching, you're kind of made to focus on like a few things and it's kind of like drilled into your head. So that could be my experience, but I don't get why you would want to do that.
Actually, I know coaching and our school, we are fulfilling two aspects of learning. One is learning for specific purpose and for selected students. Another is conceptual understanding for all of you with the board in mind. So we'll go on like that. Thanks, Arusha. We will not worry about what coaching institutes do, because they also evolve. They don't do the same every year. And we also will evolve. We also will not do the same every year. We'll keep on learning. We can take one more question, though we are almost running out of time now.
Thanks, sir. And I hope my opinion wasn't very offensive.
Okay. We can take one more. All right. Okay, Veda. Veda, you can speak. Veda Arvind.
So she's typed that her mic isn't working. That's why she typed it.
She has typed out, sir, I have a point regarding online school too. I think making the class more interactive, personal, and having a bond with peers and student is very important. After being at Gear for more than a year, I still don't feel as connected with teachers. This could be achieved if we have discussions with teachers and students apart from academics. I'm typing as my mic is not currently working.
Okay. I can understand Veda, because she was with us, she left us for some reason, she has come back. Maybe mentors can help her. Current situation doesn't allow most of the things she is interested in. Actually, this session is just to open up your mind. Not that we are going to learn Aristotle or Socrates or Einstein. Just simple things you think about. Turn the kind of pointer towards you only and try to improve yourself. Have the self-discipline of doing what you decide. Your success depends on you only. Everybody else is only going to help you. So I would very much request all of you to concentrate on what you want to do, because 12th, like I said, I don't mind if you don't do any exercise in 12th. That should be only for 12th. You should have been doing till now, and you should continue doing it even now when you get time. Anyhow, with all that, if there is anything more you want to ask, more you want to learn, kindly keep talking to the mentor you like the most, or you can send a mail to me. We are all there to help you, and you're all doing a wonderful job. Continue doing it. Continue being happy doing it. That's more important. Okay. With that, we'll hand over to Sudeshna ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. So I would like to conclude by thanking sir for such a wonderful and enriching session with covering so many varied aspect, and triggering and instigating or stimulating children so they introspect, they think about so many various aspects. And also I would like to thank the participants who wonderfully opened up and interacted with the sir, and helped us understand them more, and probably helped us to introspect as well. And I also would like to thank the media team. We have a team of media studies who is really helping us to take down the report in every episode of CIC. Last episode, it was Nipun and Advay. This episode, this is Advay and Veda. Thank you so much for your wonderful reports. And I would like to thank all the audiences, Sarvesh sir, Savvy ma'am, Nandini ma'am, all the mentors, all wonderful gear curves. Thank you so much for your presence here, and for the overall wonderful session. Thank you.